So we're back immediately, just like I said, and as I was saying, Far Cry 2 and Pikmin 2 are both games about man's relationship with play, danger, and work, and are both saying fairly similar things. Both are basically using the form of a game built around and into a narrative to make the same point, which they kind of naturally have to lead to, I think, only, of course, naturally, Japan did it first and better and got no credit for it because, racism in video games is real, but only towards Japanese people, and it's always been that way. Far Cry 2 was very, kind of the beginning of that whole Obama era of absurd pretentiousness, which, it's not Obama pretentiousness unless it's over something completely moronic coupled with just insane over-the-moon optimism that we're onto the greatest thing ever. And, Far Cry 2, though, actually did have intelligent things going on, but nobody talking about it was actually saying anything intelligent. It gave off enough kind of flags, you could say, that it was about something that we should consider important, and it's very much the way idiots look at this kind of thing, that they see a sign that they should be putting on their serious hat, and then, rather than actually looking at the thing, they do what schools condition you to do, which is to just kind of look for the answer that will get them off your back, which is correct answer coded. In the case of, Far Cry 2 and various other works, that means, okay, it's a serious thing and it's about a war and such, so, I guess it's like an Aaron Sorkin movie then. It's a serious piece of work which is telling me that war is bad and happens because of a greedy man named late capitalism who gets rich off of it. Far Cry 2 is about war being bad because of late capitalism. There's our video essay. Cut, print, golden. And now you're a established video game intellectual on the computer, and your name is Errant Signal or something, and Gamergate is going to happen in a few years, and you will take the wrong side. Yes, I do remember what everyone had to say about that. I do remember George Weedman. I do remember Errant Signal. I remember all of you. You're all traitors, and no, none of you're forgiven. Okay. Now, let me remember how the rest of this area goes. Gee, does it go this far out in that direction? I wonder if there's anything I need there. Oh, there's this one right here. Yay! The pilot's seat. Well, that's another very easy one the Blues can grab on their way home. But we'd better grab this spinning Lego piece here. Everyone grab your Lego. The zirconium rotor. Well, that was pointless but funny. But anyway, yes, people... It doesn't really ultimately matter, this only creates wrong interpretations, but basically, if the video game sends out "this is serious" flags, like, the way people speak, certain words that come up, people get very silly and start basically panicking and going through their backlog of, things you say to your English teacher to make her get off your back, and so, Far Cry 2, the villain talks about philosophy or whatever. Metal Gear Solid, it comes up, people just go into their panicked gibberish of just it's about, just all the big words, it's an anti-war, whatever, anti-capitalism, so on, but that's something I could talk about in its own video, basically what Metal Gear Solid is about. It's a very simple work, which pretty much absolutely everyone is wrong about, of course. And Far Cry 2, people are less wrong, but again, it's the same plot as Pikmin, which especially comes out in Pikmin 2. The plot of Far Cry 2 is that you, at first, when you're dropped into this environment, which you willingly went into, it's very much, there are a few characters you can choose from in Far Cry 2, but the one who looks the most like the guy on the front of the box, and who is the most thematically appropriate, I believe, is Warren Clyde, the American guy from Florida who has no formal military experience and is basically like a guns and ammo nerd who wants to get into some real shit. So he somehow ends up taking a job to kill the Jackal in Africa, this big famous or infamous arms dealer, and messes it up and then has to make the best of his situation in the war zone. And yeah, that's very deliberate that you're an outsider who goes into the place willingly. That's obviously a kind of analog for you, the player, volunteering by buying the game. The point is not, "Oh, you think this is just a funny place for you to mess around, huh? You killed those NPCs, you're a monster." It's not that. Clint Hawking, the guy who made the game, I really do get the impression, by the way, that Clint Hawking can actually be called something like an auteur in this game's case. He really did make the game, it's his. I don't think it's illegitimate or wrong to actually give this game credit as having an author. So let me just clean these guys up. But yes, the idea of Far Cry 2, its premise is very much that you go into this place and in this war zone you at first find this great joy in life, being in a place where you really have to give it your all every day and you're able to face these, it's really taking advantage of the new possibilities of being an open world shooter. It's this idea that like, okay, you aren't just moving down a hallway and shooting, you actually have to like outsmart the other guys. It's this kind of jungle where you become the apex predator, which was also kind of a thematic idea of Far Cry 1, which is a very silly game, but I like it a lot. Anyway, yes, you're this kind of, you go to this war zone, you become the big boss bad guy there, and you really kind of come into a more satisfying mode of existence. It's what man is built for, as the Jackal says when he first holds you up at gunpoint and decides not to kill you at the start of the game. That all living creatures exist to discharge their strength is what the Jackal tells you. He's a kind of hard Nietzschean, or at least seems to be at first. That's what he says. That's very much the point of Far Cry 2. We exist to discharge our strength, and the opportunities you find in Far Cry 2 Africa to just hunt and slaughter all of these other guys and become the apex predator of this strange environment. It really is more fun than anything else you could be doing. It's like Liquid Snake already told us in Metal Gear Solid, you enjoy the killing. That's why you're here. It's very on the nose, especially if you watch the prologue stuff in Metal Gear Solid 1, that Solid Snake is depressed whenever there's not a war on, and that's why he agrees to the mission. Not out of any principles, and yeah, Far Cry 2 doesn't just end with the revelation that, oh hey, I'm actually having a fun time in this war zone. It keeps going. It's a rather long game, and it's funny, one of the more common criticisms is from people who completely don't get this, which is that a lot of people say like, oh, the game keeps on going, and it's all very boring and the same after a while, and so I just don't tend to finish it. That's very, very deliberately done. Not really in the sense of it being boring, but in the sense of, well, it was written basically in the knowledge that it can only be so fun for so long, like all games. It's very much aware that the experience it's offering has an expiry date, and yeah, basically the whole story is written around the Jackal having realized that himself, and the idea that you hopefully will eventually as well. And this all lined up especially well for me because I could see what the game was trying to say, and I basically went through all of the intended feelings at roughly the same time as the game was expecting me to. It's kind of built counting on you feeling certain things at certain times. So I just have to throw a few of these guys onto this yellow platform, and I'm an idiot and I keep missing. I only need so many to make it up there. But, yes, as I was saying, Far Cry 2, it's this idea of, okay, you exist to discharge your strength. You go into this very open-ended kind of human safari where you get the opportunity to have a fun time hunting people and becoming the alpha dog of the war zone. Then what? Well, you do it for like 15 hours and then you're bored, and this Jackal guy who taught you this philosophy of human hunting and discharging strength, you're listening to tapes of his interviews with a journalist along the way, and his trajectory, his feelings as they develop over time will basically map onto those of a video game player having a fun power fantasy and then getting bored, where basically the Jackal's experience with living his Nietzschean overman dream is, okay, it's all basically the same after a while, and now I'm bored and have nothing else I can do. And yeah, that's pretty much a common complaint that people have about Far Cry 2. Oh, it's all the same and there's nothing much new for me to do after a while, when, you know, one of the characters who you're meant to be, like, tracking and learning about and getting inside the mind of is saying the exact same things as you, like, going through the same trajectory of feelings, having the same experience. Like, yes, that's deliberate. It's not necessarily making the game boring, but an acknowledgement that all games must get boring, and wanting to live for this philosophy of discharging your strength is basically trying to make your life a kind of game, and yeah, you've seen it all after a while, you get bored, and the Jackal is basically depressed and wants to stop playing, and by the time you've basically hit the point where you meet the Jackal again at the end of the game, the idea is that you will be bored too, and then the Jackal proposes one last big mission which will end the game, and if you're not an idiot, by that point you should be feeling similar, and the idea is that you agree and you and the Jackal end the game together by basically giving up on being mercenaries with one last big throw for something other than discharging your strength. You go on a kind of humanitarian mission, which is kind of a suggestion. You can say it's more or less sound, I don't know, but this idea of wanting to live for something other than basically being the big dog who kills the other smaller mercenaries who can't keep up with how badass you are. And that's kind of what Pikmin is doing as well, only Pikmin, it's more, the trajectory is, as Olimar just said at the end of the last journal entry, you show up in this place and oh wow, like wilderness and challenges, it's all so scary and dangerous, I don't know what to make of it. And then after a while, hey, this is kind of serene. And then in Fallout, what am I saying? I've got other games in my mind. And then in Pikmin 2, you go back to this planet instead to make money this time. And the idea is that it's gone from dangerous to kind of serene to now it's a commercial operation you're in just to kind of keep your boss's company afloat, and it's still more stimulating than anything you've got going on at home because, again, discharge of strength. Pikmin isn't an inherently appealing game because it's about overcoming nature and just this kind of naturalistic experimentation and overcoming, which is great fun. And so yeah, Olimar is and instead of diary entries, it's instead emails he's sending back and forth with his family at the end of every day in the game, which kind of give you the story and tell you where Olimar's mind is at and what he's doing. And very interestingly, it's basically, at the start of the game, it's just people talking to him about finance and stuff, and then much more interestingly, like, of course, it sounds like nobody at home is having a great time compared to Olimar, who clearly loves his job because he likes being on this planet, because he likes being an adventurer man more than he's basically a salary man when he's at home from the sounds of it. He likes it, and yeah, at first, in the first half of the game, while you're the one making the money by going on adventures, everyone else is just sending you mundane complaints about needing money. And then once you hit the kind of last act and post-game, things go from basically making money to making excessive amounts of money that you don't need anymore, and then even after you find every single piece of valuable stuff there is in the game to find, you can keep going back even longer. And that's when the most interesting emails come out, which are basically Olimar's family saying, "We love you, and it would be nice if you were to come home any time now." And that just says something very bold and interesting about work, if you ask me. This idea of the whole meta plot of Pikmin 2 is that Olimar just learns to love this place, and yeah, he's like you, he's choosing this fun adventure on this planet with the Pikmin over his domestic life. And yeah, the end of Pikmin 2, the last round of emails that you get sent from Olimar's family, I found quite depressing and kind of poignant, where it's basically like, okay, the real world kind of wants you back now. Just, like, think about it. Is there, like, even any... Like, we've gone from, like, further and further abstract and less urgent points to your being here, to the point where, like, now you're just on this place with literally nothing to do, while the domestic world is, you know, it still misses you. And, yeah, that's basically what Pikmin has to say. It's... Again, it's this idea that Nintendo have had in their minds since The Legend of Zelda 1. Again, remember, this and Zelda are both Shigeru Miyamoto's brainchild, and to an idiot it might seem like, oh, he's a guy who throws out so many random ideas, but no, Pikmin and The Legend of Zelda are very much joined at the hip. He's a man who has a very elaborate idea of what the appeal of the natural world is. And Pikmin is all about that. It's, on one hand, this appreciation of naturalistic, what do I call it, reactions and exploration and experimentation. That's kind of a side tangent. I hate how experimentation is a word which is kind of taken on a form in the gamer brain where they don't actually appreciate it, but certain things are kind of experimentation coded, where like, oh, I'm glad the game let me experiment by doing like one of 3 extremely obvious things that were possible in this particular area. Like, okay, shut up, idiot, you don't appreciate that. So what are the other pieces I'm meant to be grabbing around here? There's one up here. That's right, that one's a touch annoying. That's the one where I have to guide the yellows up a kind of thing. And there's ones over there where I have to run more blues over and do stuff. Let's go get on that. But yes, Pikmin is very much just about the appeal of the natural world over the kind of mundane one. It's almost, you call it like Costin Alamario pilled or something. Like, what is the point of the communication and kind of the text literary story of the game shifting from Olimar's journals, this kind of Robinson Crusoe thing, to him getting emails from home? It's about the Longhouse. Pikmin 2 is about Olimar seeking a more exciting life. Like, you look at him with his big nose and blank expression, people would think like, oh, Olimar's like not really a character, he has nothing going on. He probably has more going on than any other Nintendo character. And yeah, have you ever heard that before from anyone but me? That's why you watch these. You're not here for my insane professional Pikmin strats, you're here because, yeah, who else is gonna actually think about this game like it was made by human beings who might, you know, have stuff going on in their heads? As far as I know, like, nobody else has ever seriously entertained the thought that Pikmin is a game with a story. Again, you know, people don't really go into them video games appreciating this kind of thing. What happens is, you know, if certain signals are sent out, we put on our serious hat and we just start applying what we've been taught serious media analysis looks like, which is, you know, just canned good virtues that the state and whatever want us to hold. We're told that, oh, they're represented within this thing. War is bad and this work is good, so it must be at some point saying war is bad. Very idiotic, just a complete waste of time. Come on guys, get the thing. There we go. Grab the stragglers, and let's go get the other one. And we're practically done here. We'll clean this place up on this day, and then one more for the final part. Grab that one, and then I go grab yellows to get the other thing. Good job, team. I love that little way they go opaque or, like, pale when they're sad that they don't have stuff to do. The Pikmin are like Olimar, they get depressed if they don't have stuff to do. It's not for nothing that they would think of these details. I'm not saying, oh, it's good because it's loaded with detail, like the more details, the more good it is, but just, that's more proof that that's the kind of detail you get, not from like thinking, oh, I need to spam more detail, but just when you're working from a kind of organic first inspiration, this kind of, you know, the game is about an idea which someone feels rather than like they picked it from the list of intelligent themes that will make your high school English teacher proud. It's just, it's something that's on Shigeru Miyamoto's mind, this whole game being about the natural world and work, so isn't it just a natural thing that he would come up with that, yes, your little, like, weird natural pygmy slaves get very depressed if they aren't actively slaving for you. And there's another thing I don't know if anybody has ever said, even though it's very obvious. I just said then, I called them pygmy slaves. Think about that. Pygmy, Pikmin. Pygmy, Pikmin. That seems kind of obvious, doesn't it? But have you heard it said by anyone before me? I really do believe that I am pretty much the only one thinking about video games in any way that really means anything. Like, Icy Calm thinks about them in his own way, but I consider that own way a bit flawed, you know? For various reasons. But, yeah, just genuinely, if you wanted to have anything of interest or intelligent to say about Pikmin, you would, I think... Sorry, I have to check something. Okay, 15 is not the day when the egg does its show for us, never mind. But yeah, there's a little natural environment thing. I said things happen off camera in ways I wouldn't show you a lot of just because of how long it takes, but bridges you built get chewed down by those obnoxious little bugs. Isn't that cool? But anyway, yeah, just, am I the first one to basically give you a literary analysis of Pikmin as though it's about things? Probably. Is this particularly difficult? No, I just do it all off the cuff, but genuinely, people just take it for granted that there's nothing there. Again, basically all literary analysis is pseudo-intellectual and fake and just done in a wrong fashion by people who are basically afraid of real thinking because they've been so brutalized by bad teaching, so yeah, that's kind of the function of these videos, to be good teaching. Again, I don't just play over the game and talk over it because it's easy. This is a way to kind of unkink your mind and undo the damage that your high school teachers did to you. Just, how do you learn how to get the real point of anything out of it? You do that by just, you know, take the thing as it comes to you and just cut out all of this obnoxious middling in-between stuff that just messes with your head, and yeah, just the way to do that is to look straight at it and not... You know, how much room is there for us to get confused and get into, like, ulterior things and confused, paranoid conspiracy theories about what's going on and deranged high school English stuff? If the game is right here, I can't go off track if it's right in front of me. Of course I can go off track, and I do, but I like to think that I'm doing so in a good rather than bad way, where my starting point is always the game because I'm using the game to prompt me. If we were to force Errant Signal to actually play a goddamn video game, he would then have to actually take things that are in front of him as prompting, and he might be less stupid for that. Speaking of, Errant Signal actually did do a Let's Play channel with Seamus Young, rest in peace, that guy. He's the one who wrote that viral post about how Fallout 3's plot doesn't make sense, which is correct, but as I said in the Dark Souls video, I like Fallout 3's plot now, in a very abstract way. Seamus Young was not very good at appreciating things beyond his time. He's one of those guys who basically thinks Quake is the best game ever and created principles for appreciating video games around Quake being the best game ever, which don't serve him too well, but that's how his mind worked. So when he talked about Halo, he was just kind of gibbering and made no sense, but on the whole, Young was still an intelligent guy. Anyway, where I was going, Errant Signal, the silly fathead who said things like ludonarrative dissonance and said that Spec Ops: The Line was a very intelligent game. It's not, by the way. Spec Ops: The Line is one of the silliest things ever made. I could make a video on that one day. It's very Obama. It's like the... Again, it's another thing which is spiritually on the level of Rambo 4. It's just completely moronic, meat-headed, and deranged. Very, very funny. He was one of those guys. Him, Seamus Young, and a couple of other people had a video game Let's Playing channel, which did a lot of games. They weren't that bad, but what's funny is they had a girl on the team, and yeah, what do you think happens? It eventually breaks because the girl just insists on going out of her way to get offended by stuff going on in I think it was Life is Strange that set her off, and they're just like, oh well, I guess we just don't play and talk about video games now. And yeah, isn't that just perfect that that's how it goes? Errant Signal used to actually sit in front of video games, and then a woman's feelings being hurt just put a stop to that. That's what happens when you're on the wrong side of Gamergate. Now, sorry, I have one Pikmin left who I don't want to leave behind, and where did he go? Is he in the water? You know, that one might just be like clipped through the level, I genuinely don't know. Yeah, I don't know if we're getting him back, oh well. I got 2 of them, and I'm pretty happy with that. 1 day to go, isn't that pretty good? I could even do it this video. You know what, why don't we do that? Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, just if the game is in front of you, you can do the best kind of analyses. A kind of literary analysis does not necessarily demand that you look at the game on paper. We could stick around and get more Pikmin or whatever, but I think I've shown you this spring area pretty well, and we're powering through. It'd be nice to have a finished game on this channel, wouldn't it? But yes, most people, literary analysis basically means, okay, I'm going to just like look at the game on paper and spiral off from there, and is that a source of issues? Probably, but also I think it's just that these people are, you know, idiots, and yeah, it ties into what I was saying that, oh well, people think that when they get serious it has to be fishing for single particular values inside the work which are good coded, which is kind of getting at the problem, which is, again, Gamergate, woman destroying the podcast they had where they played games. It's a political problem, largely. Like, would someone who's not an idiot looking at a game in a literary fashion come to the same conclusions as Errant Signal if their politics were reversed? Probably not. Hey, look at that, we didn't lose a single Pikmin that day. But yeah, like, what was the source of his idiotic reading of Spec Ops: The Line? Was it that he wasn't actually physically playing it while talking about it? Well, that might have helped, but it's more just that he actively wanted to be wrong. Isn't this cool that all these ones are over here, and you can see what each area roughly is? The spring, there's a hole in the ground there, the nice temperate starting area, the thicker forest. And then over here we go all the way over the horizon onto that, we get the shooting stars appearing in the sky. And this area is just called the Final Trial even. That's a very cool detail. All the way over to the edge, because the idea is the ship can go a bit further every time you get more parts, and now we're all the way up here. I hope I don't mess this up, but I might. This Final Trial can actually be a bit testing. But anyway, yes, just how do people get so wrong about video games? One thing I attempt to correct is just putting the game in front of me and prompting myself, and the other is just not having moronic values and being afraid to believe certain things. The main reason people are wrong about Metal Gear Solid is because it's basically a taboo to interpret that game correctly. Its actual subject matter and the ideas which it's about are just taboo today. You aren't meant to think them. People will freak out in various ways if you say the same things the characters say and basically take them at face value. That's very much just like the source of most of what's wrong about art, frankly. It's very sad how simple it is. Guys, why did you dive into the water with me? Okay then, good job. And the others didn't jump into the water too, I hope. Oh well. Now, I have to go... This is just a kind of logic puzzle, this first area. It's pretty fun. I have to go grab blues and put them on the bridges. And I have to grab yellows and grab some bombs. Let's just mostly grab blues. Yeah, I only needed 10 reds, but I grabbed too many without thinking. And they over-enthusiastically overdid their job and exploded. You might see me trying to do this. You can catch them as they're sliding down their poles and just get them out slightly quicker by whistling. I think that's cool. Now, 2 bridges to knock down. We're so close, guys. This is the final trial. Don't worry, I can still get Pikmin adjacent thoughts out in other games. There's more we could talk about. I could even get 2 playing eventually. Who knows? This channel could go any number of places. Come on guys, get on the bridge. Now I grab yellows. Yeah, we're making good time so far. Just this is all the prelude to the real final trial. Which we're getting at. Did I seriously grab that many blues? Damn, I guess I'm going to have to wait for them to finish this bridge then. But they're going very quick, so that's no problem. Look at them go. Okay, yellows wait there. I'm going to take half of these blues around the other side and leave the other half be. Come on, guys. And yeah, this is a very pretty area. I think I like this kind of logic puzzle layout, and you may have thought it was a bit weird how like open and simple the spring was, where we just had to knock down a few walls and we had access to all of it, but a thought that just comes to my mind now is how much like video game design logic annoys me, as far as it just like dictates that things be really annoying and you basically fight the player a lot. This game doesn't do that, and I really like it. I think that if Pikmin were made by Westerners, the final trial would be every level, in the sense that they wouldn't be able to resist making the entire game a kind of contrived logic puzzle where you have to just always be doing something new and just really like fighting with the game at every moment and just like escalating the challenge, whereas no, in Shigeru Miyamoto's mind, because he isn't an idiot, he thinks like, okay, the game is about like enjoying nature. That means it can get harder, but it also means there's like, it doesn't mean that getting harder, especially in a contrived way, makes it better. If anything, it's worse for that, because like, this is very unnatural, the layout of this whole area. Like, what are we doing? We're doing this weird logic puzzle stuff, when the whole game is meant to be about just messing with fairly organic obstacles. Gee, I threw like 20 Pikmin for 3 bombs, good job. I don't think we're going to make that throw, so we'll... I'm pretty sure there's a way to make them drop their bombs when they get thrown, which I don't want them to do, so I hope I don't screw this up. Don't drop your bomb. Good. Oh, Jesus, they... Can I even beat this, or do I have to just go to sunset now? Guys, I might have forced myself to take an extra day beating Pikmin just because I'm an idiot and I always forget the bomb logic of the yellows. Not that that annoys me. But yeah, I was just talking about like video game logic and how like weird, like contrived abstract logic failures being your like win or lose condition is like the default in Western games. That basically doesn't happen much in Pikmin. This is like the one area in this game where it is even remotely possible. And of course leave it to me to go and actually bloody do it, but that was my fault. And you know, this area is called the Final Trial. It's... every other area has a very natural name, and this is the one area in the game where things actually get unnatural and, you know, basically force you to think in some abstract logic to win. And I think that it's good that the game only does that so far. Compare it to a game like Myth, which I have played on this channel and showed off a bit, where Myth's problem is that it starts out with a fun messing around naturalist system, and then it just completely shoots that in the foot by saying, yeah, okay, so we've had this very easy, like, fun intro where you just throw your little fantasy soldiers at each other and watch them mess around. But now, because this is a video game, we have to get serious, and every level is going to be like, okay, you have a few, like, very simple, like, fail or don't fail operating parts, and very simple goals, which are basically like successfully execute a specific task with specific parts, or you don't binary fail or don't fail. And they're probably thinking like, okay, that's a better level because it's a harder game, and like it's kind of an indulgence we grant you that early on in Myth there are levels where you can just, you know, basically play with the parts and have fun enjoying this fucking battle system we created. But now we have to go back to work and make this a game. But yeah, Pikmin just, it's only made a few years after Myth, and it doesn't fall into any of those traps, and to their credit, neither did Bungie afterwards when they created Halo. Yep, Olimar's got a generic hint for us because nothing of interest happened today because I just messed up this trial in a very stupid way, but that's okay, it means we have more time to do it today. 2 days has been the pattern for these videos so far. Wait, I didn't stop this one after 2 days. We spent 2 days in the spring area, now we're wrapping it up here, I think. Anyway, here we go. Yeah, I've done that bomb mistake before, I think. It's very weird how, like, you whistle them and then they drop the bomb. You're meant to, like, walk into them, I think. Anyway, we won't make that mistake again. But yes, Bungie learned and made Halo, and Halo is not a puzzle game where you have to do really weird, contrived things rather than just mess around with guns and shooting stuff, which is the correct logic to have in making, you know, a fucking game, I think, or at least most games, and especially games where the whole appeal and selling point is like fun, naturalist interactions. It really doesn't make sense to go to war with your own fucking player base as these things tend to. Oh, we killed one. Okay, now let's do this intelligently. That's right, follow me without exploding. We're so close to being done with the bomb part. I just have to not whistle them again here. Okay, and we can whistle him. Ooh, I almost whistled those ones. And we're done. But yeah, the whole game is not like this. The whole of Pikmin 2 is not like this. I hope 3 and 4 aren't like this. It's just, this is what Pikmin should not be, but it's okay to basically do it once as a one-off gimmick. And yeah, I wouldn't have minded if Myth had like gimmick levels like this now and then, but the problem is that the ratio is basically backwards. Like 90% of Myth is like really unpleasant, unfun shit, which just feels like the game is punishing you for wanting to have fun. And yeah, occasionally there's a level where where the game actually plays to its own strengths. Oh, gee, we knocked that down with one bomb. I didn't think it was that easy. But yeah, we want, we'll bring yellows because we need a few of them for bombs next, and we'll bring a bunch of blues just since we have so many, and reds because they're good at fighting. You might have figured. It's the end of a video game. Yes, we have to fight something now. Let's see how this goes. Bring lots of blues just because they're junk and I don't mind losing them. And we'll bring lots of reds just because they're nice. They might actually fight it a bit better. Again, I think this game looks really nice when you have a spread of all 3 colors. Now, where were we going? Just don't want to lose them over the edge of the bridge, that would be a bit embarrassing. Now we've done this, so all of you stay behind except for a few special yellows who have a job to do with me. Wait, actually we have to knock a fence down, that's right. Everyone be careful and stick to me around the edge. Ooh, there's an intelligent way to kind of... If you don't know this last fight might actually be a bit difficult, but yes, you slip around the back to kind of get the easier way to do this, and I find this fight harder than I did growing up. I've clearly forgotten a few bits about it, but yes, we just grab bombs and we're going to be using these. Lots of those, and actually I think we're going to want everyone on board. Got to be careful not to set off our own bombs. Okay. Oh, there's even more over there, that's nice, but yeah, last day, so I just don't want to mess this up too badly, but we take a couple of you. No, that's probably too many, I want like one. Come on, hello? Oh, Jesus, he does that, does he? That's news to me. Did he eat the bomb? Yes, he did. Let's go, team. Everyone get him. Ah, gee, good job. Good job. That red just completely messed us up. I mean, that yellow. But it's okay, I can just bomb him again. And I grab the fodder Pikmin and everyone jump in his face. Yeah, this is the Emperor Bulblax. He is, he doesn't mess around. Did he eat another bomb yet? There he goes, eating a bomb. And yeah, I swear he just used to be easier to damage once upon a time, but now I've gotta lose a goddamn million Pikmin trying to hurt him. Everyone come with, and we're going to strategically hit him with another yellow. Yeah, I'm not doing too great, am I? Suppose I could be doing a lot worse as well, though. I'll say that much. But yeah, that's 50 Pikmin down, not ideal. Where are you going, you idiot? Eat them. Come on, eat the bomb ones, I left them right there for you. Good job. Oh, jeez, really? He can just... Okay, they exploded while in his mouth, and I wasn't aware that that could still kill us. Let's go get another 100 Pikmin and try again. Yep, this isn't going great. As you can see, I need a full day because I just have no idea how to fight the last boss. This won't be a fun podcast segment, but if you just like watching Pikmin die while I fail to tell them what to do, then yeah, you'll be having a great time. There's a whole other thing of bombs to use, and we'll just grab loads of reds, because they hit a bit harder. The red population is about to take an absolute beating, but it's okay, we're almost done with them. I'm not a very good Pikmin lord, they'll be barely in better shape than when I found them when I'm done with them. Is there any stuff around I can use to get flowers on these guys? I don't actually know. Oh well. They're not long for this world. And as you can see, a few even ran into the goddamn water. Do they really deserve to live? I think that's a fair question to ask of the Pikmin. Now let's see how many die on the way to the bombs. Come on guys, just keep running. Oh look, grass as well so we can power up. The game wants me to win. Oh, this is a funny game, but yeah, I'm making an absolute mess of this. I swear I used to know how to fight this last boss, now I just don't. So let's just do our best and probably die a lot more. Oh, is that about to kill them all? No. Okay, I'm gonna have to move quick and I might even reset the day if this doesn't work. Won't that be a miserable video? Oh jeez, this is... I just want him to eat a Pikmin who has a bomb. There we go. Get him, guys! Get him! Here we go, now we're fighting. You know, let's just keep doing this. This is working. Okay, that wasn't working great though. Okay, now he's doing his screw you move. Okay, everyone who's left... Yeah, he doesn't like it if you just try to dive his face. Let's get everyone back and run. I can still kill him today with one last run, but... Geez, I might even edit this out if this doesn't work. I don't know, I just don't want you to be miserable watching me fail at the game for half an hour. But I think one last run with a bunch of red Pikmin supported by these bombs into his face could take him out. Come on, red Pikmin. That's it. All of you. I'm like a incompetent movie villain just sending waves of henchmen, just so much death, and I don't care, my only option is to send more. I really am just terrible at this game. I used to know what I was doing. I really do think though, if I just used bombs intelligently, like one at a time, and then swarm with reds and pull back, I would be pretty on top of this, but you know me, I just want to do everything fast and loose and lose a gajillion of them. Go, B-bait. Reds, get ready. And of course, one bomb Pikmin gets in to kill everyone. That's his job. Everybody run! We're so close. I just need to hit him with one or two more bombs. Come on. Eat him. Watch me somehow manage to throw the one holding a goddamn bomb here. Run, everyone run. I don't know if we'll have time to carry the part back, but if I kill him, I don't care. It's all about killing this big bastard. Come on, we can do it. Just eat the one with the bomb. We're nearing the end of the day. He takes that goddamn long and just doesn't cooperate with me. No, don't go back underground, you fat bastard. Just eat the silly bomb Pikmin. Yes! Everyone jump on his face and beat him to death. And now he does his screw you super bomb thing again. We're so close. You know, I'm actually thinking now, did the bombs do damage in the Wii version? Was that version of the game easier, or am I just coping for how much I suck now? Get in, come on, we're gonna do it. I'm going to have to call this video something like the worst boss fight ever. And there it is, the kind of last joke from Nintendo. The last super important piece that Olimar didn't want to leave with is his safe. He can leave without regrets because he's got his money. Olimar is such an asshole, isn't he? That is very funny if you ask me. And yeah, I don't know if we'll... As my kind of apology to the red Pikmin, I will let them carry home those pellets, and I don't know if we'll have time to get the piggy bank back. Probably not. Isn't that going to be funny? It takes me 3 days to beat the last trial. I sure am bad at video games, aren't I? Come on, are there enough of you left to carry it? Nope. Okay, everyone back to the ship, we'll get it tomorrow. But yeah, like, people say it was, like, mean and crude that the thing you get in Zelda Breath of the Wild for collecting everything is a, basically a turd. That's the joke that they set up there. That's the big joke that they set up there. Well, yeah, that's also kind of the joke at the end of Pikmin, that for all your troubles, what you get is, what you get is basically you've done a favor for Olimar, who's just a dick. I'm just taking more Pikmin out so that we don't get too many new seeds made, which I have to pick. And yeah, the red population is somewhat replenished by getting all of those back. All 100 are with me. And tomorrow we'll take out our little honor guard of 100 Pikmin just to carry the safe back, and that's the end of the game. Were you thinking maybe I wouldn't be able to even beat the boss today? I was thinking that. That got very dicey, didn't it? But yeah, it is fairly simple what you're meant to do. Just drop a bomb in front of him, he eats it, hit his face, and just keep repeating that until... If you try to just like dodge him out like a Dark Souls boss, just dodge him and hit him, he will just do that like unhittable giant jumping and pounding move, which is just like spitefully dangerous. You have no ability to deal with that. This is a funny little entry. Why don't they attack me? Yeah, in one sense it's kind of symbiotic, they benefit a lot from him. And also there's the joke that his spaceman suit makes him look like a Pikmin. There's a lot of that stuff just going on. Pikmin is very funny. And yeah, we lost 178 in battle today. Look at that poor red line. But we sprouted 21, that partially makes up for it. 117 red Pikmin left, isn't that nice? There's still over 100 of each. That's what I consider healthy Pikmin numbers. If you're below 100, then something has gone wrong. But we've got this. We just have to carry the last piece home, and we've made it. And as you can see, there's the ship pretty much complete, just missing Olimar's beloved safe. And we'll go 34, 33, 33. And hopefully not drown any of them on the walkover. Everybody stack in. Don't fan out. Ooh, they're trying to kill themselves, aren't they? There we go, everybody's made it. And don't worry, he doesn't come back. And here we are in the last boss's arena with 100 Pikmin, even spread of them all. Aren't they pretty? I love this shot of how they all just look in on Olimar when he stands like this. Now we can have a nice even spread of them, all carry that back. And something amusing I can show you now is that the Pikmin can actually carry Olimar. So they can take me back. Look at them go. Is there ever a practical reason to do this? No. Can you beat the whole game without knowing you can do this? Very easily. What happens if I get to the onion? Olimar just bounces off it, but very, very funny. And those last few, don't worry, everyone gets zapped back when the last piece is in, I'm pretty sure. And there it goes. Pikmin is beaten. I am not bad at video games, we made it. But considering I've beaten this game like 10 times, it probably should have been a lot faster. And of course it could have been. If you're not just here to listen to me and you actually want to know about Pikmin, you like watching it in action, I do recommend looking up a minimum days run, because Pikmin is actually a game that's interesting when played well. I can return home to Hocketate. Excellent. And like how Solid Snake keeps coming back to war, Olimar somehow always keeps coming back to this planet, and back to the Pikmin. He can go back to Hocketate, but, you know, the real message of Shigeru Miyamoto's games is always, you want to keep playing. He understands that and doesn't seem to blame you. This whole game is, again, Shigeru Miyamoto making a game about playing games. And isn't that cute? The Pikmin there, rather forlorn watching him leave. I love this animation. The way they all tilt their heads. Well, I shouldn't call it an animation, it's more like the staging of a scene. And Olimar's thinking to himself, no, I have to get back to my family, and... yeah, it's just less fun though, isn't it? Wouldn't you rather be here? Olimar comes back in Pikmin 2, and I come back just starting the damn game again. And of course I played Pikmin 2. And gee, maybe the Pikmin have learned something. Look at them attacking this thing of their own volition. That's right, you learn from Olimar and start bullying everything for yourselves. If there were never another Pikmin game, that'd be a very nice ending, I think. And there goes Olimar, and look at that, weird colored Pikmin onions. There's all kinds of ones, apparently. Yay, we've made it. The ship is in perfect working order, no fuss at all. The game passes no real judgments here, just you either make it or you don't, and I suppose you can make it with a less than perfect ship. It's not like Luigi's Mansion where the game just calls you a poor fag if you didn't get a massive pile of money. That's another early GameCube collecting game. Luigi's Mansion is a nice piece of work, but it gave me a bad ending. It said I sucked at collecting money, apparently. No judgments here. Oh yeah, it's got scores from other times I've played on this this emulator, this file. So I did it 18 days this time, it was 19 last time apparently, pretty good. Surviving Pikmin was better this time. And Pikmin Lost, much better this time. And total Pikmin sprouted across playthroughs, 3,500. Pretty good. Speedruns to grow Pikmin would also be interesting. That's actually a challenge mode that exists in the game. I don't know about you, but I might actually go and look that up now. Oh, and apparently something I can see because of the emulator's widescreen effect is in the English version of this game, look at that, some Japanese text was kind of shoved off to the side. I don't read Japanese, but if anyone wants to drop what that says in the comments, I'd be interested. And yeah, as you can see, just every ship part lined up there at the end. Excellent. And we'll save, and that is Pikmin, yeah, complete. And here's our credits. There's maybe just a couple of things I want to point out. Hiroshi Yamauchi, yeah, he's just around in these games. Shigeru Miyamoto, your producer, but I think the game is really more his than anybody else's, you may disagree. Main system programming, Colin Reed. I told you he's in there, Colin Reed is an English guy. And it's a GameCube game, so the credits don't actually go for like 12 hours, they go for like a minute. We might actually drag the video out and loiter here just because I don't remember if there's anything else beyond this, and maybe some last thing I want to say will come up, but in the meantime it's just a kind of quick recap of the game, and yeah, why don't we just appreciate a credit sequence that isn't like 9 hours long because of all the weird every country having its own team of people needing to be credited and so on. What have we got here? 5 localizers. Excellent. And they all sound like fairly normal people. Nobody was conspiring to make this experience unpleasant for us. Aren't we lucky? But yeah, you can just see some stock footage there. Just clear out the different places, grab stuff, different things that can happen. I hope that with my kind of knowing the game quite well, I didn't rob you of too many interesting things that can potentially happen when you don't know the game as well. I tried to keep this fairly dynamic and interesting, just letting stuff happen, reacting as things come up. And oh gee, we're pretty much at the end of the credits already. There's no like recap of the whole game, you just see like a minute of stuff happening near the start. Fantastic. Now I think there's a bit more with Olimar here, but I'm not certain. Here we go. Whee! And I just got a Discord notification from someone saying new Anthony video. Yes, you don't even know. Ah, that's right. In the second game, there's the thing you can kind of go to anytime with all the names Olimar gives to these guys and descriptions, but here it's just in the credits, so here's the last thing we can watch. Every monster has a name, and Olimar making some basic observations on them. And this is Olimar. It's a lot more obvious in the second game that Olimar is actually personally writing all of these. He's interested in the planet. And yeah, we're going alphabetical order. This is what I remembered. I knew there was something. Distinguishes it from the burrowing snarrow. I'm not certain, but I think the footage they're using here was taken earlier in development. I'm just wondering if like the sky and such is as kind of finished. Like look at that sky, it's just like a grey void. It's like we're playing Cubivore. I would have known when I was younger, but I can't tell now if there are like any weird details in this sequence that make it obvious it's an older version of the game. And again, something I'm wondering is if the Wii version was significantly patched. Have I said before how like fantastic the Wii controls are, by the way? This game plays better on the Wii, I think, and Resident Evil 4 plays better on the Wii, like no question. It was a really cool controller, which was genuinely great for a few things, and yeah, unfortunately it's not really a model that can last. It's very much like kind of bound to its one aging machine that will only ever have so much stuff made for it. But yeah, I was never really against motion controls, it's just there were maybe only so many things you could do with them, but some good stuff got done. Oh yeah, and you'll see in this whole sequence some of the monsters who didn't show up because we just weren't there on their days. Like yes, there is a kind of weird anime JRPG slime who was hiding inside the bottle that one day we went past it. He shows up if you take too long in the cave area. And there's a couple more we'll see here. Pikmin 1 has a few who are harder to see, and Pikmin 2 just has way more of everything, which is a lot of fun. Pikmin 2 is a game which is made to be completed, like very much a 100%er game where you go through it seeing everything, and again, that's very thematically appropriate. It's a game about Olimar trying to get the most out of avoiding domestic life and doing whatever he wants on this planet. So, like you, he wants a maximalist experience. I like that weird stone thing. He doesn't kill your Pikmin, he knocks them into the ground and turns them into flowers instantly. And he gets mad at you if you try to pick them. Isn't that a fun name for a clam? He calls it the Pearly Clam Clamp. There's decent humor in this, and there's a lot more in Pikmin 2. If you found this kind of charming and you do want to play Pikmin, that's great, and Pikmin 2 is a really brilliant sequel which basically expands on everything that's going on in this game, and it's a really fun time. If you're interested in playing old Nintendo games, Pikmin 1 and 2 are both just incredible, I think, and yeah, again, I just weirdly never played Pikmin 3 and still haven't played Pikmin 4. I'll figure out a way to play them and get on that soon. There are a few ways that I could. Might be a bit hard to share here, like I might play them on the Switch, I don't know. But yeah, I think this is more beta footage. I think that the cave area was a lot darker in its first incarnation. Like, I found it kind of spooky when I was a kid playing it as it is now. It's goddamn scary in this beta footage. And yeah, you were wondering about that egg I looked at a couple of times. If you go there on a certain day, this guy hatches out of it and attacks you, and that thing is scary. He will mess you up. He has a certain indefatigability. That's a very funny comment, I think. There's our kind of cover monster, the spotty Bulborb. I really like how those guys look. He is a beta tester guy, just letting blues get eaten by those guys. He's like me, he doesn't give a shit. It's funny how they design them, how like all the things that are really dangerous to your Pikmin, a lot of them just have these giant mouths. I find that funny. Also, I think the frogs, the Wollywogs, are funny, the way they like gesture at you like threateningly when they first see you. And they just have these mean red eyes. Like a frog is something you could do very lazily, but making them these like giant weights who just want to drop on you is really funny. And they somehow manage to look kind of malevolent and lazy at the same time. And also they aren't gross, I appreciate that. There's nothing gross in Pikmin, it's all nice and charming, even when it's explicitly like fat and hostile. The happy end. Fantastic. I do love this game. And I don't think this game does the like N64 freeze. No, it's gonna take me back to the main menu, I think. That's right. And yeah, I think it's Pikmin 2 where you can actually manipulate the Pikmin on the main menu. We can't in this one. Not yet. And I'll just give you a quick look. I won't actually play it now, but if you're bored of like the main thing, you don't want to mess around in that, they did also include a challenge mode when you beat the game. Which is, yeah, you can just challenge yourself to drop into an area, enter any of the areas. They're all set up absolutely full of pellets and stuff. You get one of each Pikmin, and it's, yeah, exactly as it says. How many Pikmin can you grow in a day? And if you just want to look it up real quick for yourself, Pikmin 2 even has head-to-head competitive multiplayer. Kind of interesting how they work that out. Maybe not the most engrossing or worthwhile thing, but it's very cool that they tried, and yeah, there's just a bit more stuff in the game, but it's very much a fundamentally just a start, middle, and end. You versus nature. You can really get a lot of mileage out of it, but the game does have an ending. I appreciate that. Ability to potentially mess around and get more value out of the middle of a game, I think is generally much better than trying to make a game which goes forever based on potentially infinite content or anything silly like that. All of the games which I think last best for me and give me the most times are the ones with starts, middles, and ends. I hope I've said enough to sell you on the idea that Pikmin is a very worthwhile piece of media. There's a lot we can say about it, and I hope you both understand this particular work better from my having talked through a whole playthrough of it, and maybe you can better understand how I think and have been exposed to a few different approaches now on, yeah, basically different ways to talk about video games as their own special kind of media and art. And I'm about to hit F1, and with that we'll have actually finished a video game on this channel. I really hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed recording, so thanks for listening and watching. So yeah, we'll get on more stuff soon.